I'm gonna retweet this real quick. Delete this.
Do I look
Delete
fine?
that.
No camera
Uh,
resolution problems?
no, you look fine right now.
All right, good. Let's hopefully keep it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna retweet this real quick. Let the people know that we are back. There we go. All right. All right. All right. We are back. Another episode of the Snug Wrestling Podcast. I am Edgar. I am the host, and the Snug crew is here. Mr. Blood and Tommy, no toxic. He's taking care of his school duties, his school responsibilities. So we're gonna do a 3-man booth today. What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Pretty good. Raw kind of flew by, honestly. It was the main event before I knew it.
Yeah, so last week we got a little intense there with our review for Friday Night SmackDown. So are you going to be nice tonight, Mr. Blood, or what? What are we doing tonight?
What do you mean? What was I mean about?
Uh, Everything. You were just going in on everything on Friday Night SmackDown. It got a little crazy there, no?
Oh, well, it takes a lot to get me mad. That's a lie. Maybe maybe a SmackDown should step up their fucking game. So
All right. Well, hey, nah, I'm just messing with you, dude. No, fucking that's what we're here for, man. Don't hold back. All right, go nuts. And to be honest, I'm gonna do my best to piss you off tonight. So
I'm sure
just
you are, and I already know what about. But
I don't know.
I actually enjoyed the majority of the show tonight.
Yeah, no, I did too. All right, let's get into it, y'all. The best in the world, CM Punk started off the show, and it's always nice when CM Punk kicks things off because he had a lot to say this week, especially after everything that went down last week with, him and LA Knight and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns showed up last week too, I believe, right? So there was a lot of drama and chaos last week on Raw. So I was really curious to hear what CM Punk was going to say tonight. And he said a lot of interesting things, like he still wants that championship, the world title. He had it for 5 minutes, but now he wants it even more, which I was really glad to hear because I still want to see CM Punk become world champion or have a nice world title run at some point. And then he was interrupted by LA Knight. LA Knight obviously was not happy after CM Punk got involved in his title match versus Seth Rollins last week. So now we got Punk who wants a title shot. We got LA Knight who wants a title shot. But the main event that was set was a tag team match where CM Punk and LA Knight, they were forced to be on the same team to face Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. And that was a match to, really look forward to at the end of this match. But what did you guys think about seeing CM Punk and LA Knight in this situation here tonight?
I got to be honest. This was a really fun way to kick off the show. Aside from the fact that everybody knows I'm a CM Punk diehard until the wheels fall off, I also have been a lot this year, maybe taking up a little bit of that reign from our friend BT Knight, but I have been a very huge LA Knight supporter this year. I really, really, like I said, I truly believe that I think he's the person that deserves to have John Cena's farewell match. I also, until they put the title back on Cody, honestly, wholeheartedly believe that LA Knight should and would be the person to dethrone John Cena at the end of that title reign. But these two together at the start of the show, man, it's so fucking cool. These are two really great talkers, two very off the cuff talkers. And I love the back and forth these guys had because it was about like this mutual respect, but based in this like passive aggressiveness that made it extremely entertaining. Like, I love it when CM Punk goes, he's like, he said, he's like, I'm the best in the world. And then LA Knight's like, you right, you might be the best in the world, but you're not on my level. Yeah. And then I love when Punk took his yeah, and the crowd still yahed Punk. It's kind of hard for me to pick out my favorite part of this promo segment. Obviously, we have Paul Heyman, who then comes out, and then you got three of some of the best talkers in the game today, all on the mic at the same time. And Paul Heyman, it's Paul Heyman. What are you gonna do? The adorable Oracle, as he dubbed himself. But everything from the Shula Fala thing, so now they're giving Bronson Reed a little bit of shine. They're starting to put a bit of a gimmick on him. And I think it's really cool that they're making him the person that's really kind of in Roman's way. So whereas we know that this faction, which we now know officially is called The Vision, because WWE trademarked that a little over a week ago, and they first mentioned it last week on Raw. So we now know they mentioned it again tonight. This group finally has a fucking name, The Vision. And The Vision has been primarily revolving around Seth Rollins' reign and control and the rise of Braun Breaker. And Bronson Reed, as I have stated ad nauseum, has kind of been the guy at the wayside. So I like that Bronson is the guy they're focusing on to be Roman's obstacle. I think that's a great thing for Bronson. Roman's a huge star. So to have two different beatdowns to his name over that of Roman Reigns is a great way to book and push Bronson Reed. I love that. That means that all of Braun Breaker's problems are Jey Uso and Punk is who Braun Breaker's focused on. So I like that there's now kind of an evening out here of all the problems, the animosity. Every guy kind of has their guy in the overarching story. But I thought this was a great way to kick off the show. I really want to see these guys again, Punk and LA Knight, have another barb. But I'm telling you what, you smell that?
Okay.
It smells like War Games.
Oh, War Games. Oh.
Yeah, Blood, the way you ended it, I honestly wanted to start mine. Like, do you smell that? Do you hear the sirens in the distance? Do you smell the chains? It's War Games time. It is about that time where we start to slowly but surely bring the teams together. And Blood, you mentioned in our Instagram chat that these two were matching colors. I'm smelling it. I'm hearing it. War Games. Right here, right now. Let's go. This entire thing, though, I love the fact that Knight refused to acknowledge the fact that Punk did, in fact, save his career. If it was not for Punk getting involved in that match last week, man, Knight would be screwed. Knight wouldn't even be here tonight if it wasn't for Punk. Because his ass would be, like, in the fucking hospital over here getting stitches and dealing with surgeries and all of that on his head because his head became a pancake. So that whole thing I did absolutely love. The whole Shula Fala thing as well, I couldn't help but chuckle. So I'm just like, great, you've got the Ula Fala. Now you've got the Shula Fala. So is the WWE Universe now just going to start acknowledging their tribal thief? That is the question here. So this entire thing I absolutely loved in and out.
I'd like to acknowledge what you said there. The crowd was also chanting Shula Fala tonight. So that tells you Bronson Reed's getting over with them. And they even gave him a video package later to really sell it home. So this is what I was complaining about. I'm glad that they're finally putting some of that shine. They're putting some of that attention on Bronson Reed because he was sorely lacking it. So this is a huge step in the right direction for him.
No, yeah, this opening segment was definitely amazing. My biggest question or concern, I guess, that I have for you guys, and you guys can help me out answer this too, because CM Punk and LA Knight are both super over. And when they put them together, I was thinking, oh, maybe we'll get like a number one contenders match out of these two. Whoever wins gets to face Seth Rollins at Clash in Paris or whatever. But I was thinking, man, who would the crowd get behind here? Because when I was hearing CM Punk fire back on LA Knight in that promo, CM Punk kind of sounded like a heel to me. Did you guys get that feeling too while seeing this interaction?
I've always looked at CM Punk and I have always felt he borders the line of being a tweener, that he will go after anyone and everyone that gets in his fucking face. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Because I did feel like Punk kind of pushed the buttons, even because LA Knight didn't thank him when he should have. But it's the way Punk tried to get LA Knight to thank him that I was like, you're poking the bear, Punk. He was being condescending. He said, the words you're looking for are thank you, Mr. Punk. Like he was trying to sun LA Knight, who's only 7 years younger than him and still in his 40s. So I'm like, there was the condescension there where I could definitely see Punk does always lean more into that edgier tweener. I wouldn't call it heel. I'd call it tweener side, where it's like, dude, you know, these hands and these fucking words are rated E for everyone.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
with
got that
this
feeling
whole
too.
thing, I look at it and I think that Punk is the men's version of Charlotte Flair in that way. The whole thing of they say what they want to say, and that's pretty much it. Doesn't matter who the hell it is, what the hell it's about, they will say exactly what's on their mind, and that's it. It does not matter which side it overall goes on, because
Hmm.
they're more in the middle than they are on either side.
Hmm. All right, we had a tag team match after this. It was Dragon Lee teamed up with AJ Styles to face the greatest luchadors of all time, Dominic Mysterio and El Grande Americano. And again, this match is to hype up this weekend's Triple Mania that's going to go down on YouTube, which I'm pretty excited for, because three of these guys are going to be involved in a fatal four-way match for the AAA Mega Championship. Dom, Dragon Lee, and Grande Americano are all going to be a part of that match. So this was this was a great match. This was a fun match. It started off a little rough for me. Like it seemed like the timing was off. Like these guys were like not really on the same page at first, but then after the first commercial break, it all started coming together nicely. Uh, they worked a great match. Dragon Lee looked great. Dominic Mysterio and Grande Americano got the win after, they pulled a fast one on Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. Dominic Mysterio put the metal plate in his mask and headbutted AJ Styles to give Grande Americano the pin. But I really enjoyed this tag team match, and it did its job, which got me hyped up for Triple Mania this weekend. But what did you guys think?
I'm in the same mindset as you, where I thought the match started off a little slow. Crowd wasn't really feeling it until, about 4 or 5 minutes in, they were like, you know what? Fuck yeah. And, and speaking of Dragon Lee, by the way, the fact that every time this guy shows up on the main roster during his entrance, commentary has to put over, he was touted by Rey Mysterio once as being the future of Lucha Libre, to really just remind you how much WWE let this guy fall through the fucking cracks the last 3 years. Because Dragon Lee in the beginning was extremely over, and people have forgotten he was very over his first several months in the company on the main roster. And he is that damn good. So I truly believe that he had the potential of being the future of Lucha Libre, the very always sought after next quote unquote Rey Mysterio. And as far as it's concerned, the match was fine. You know what? That's a lie. The match was really, really good. And I enjoyed it, especially the latter half, the match where they picked up the pace, reversals, counters, near falls. Dominic working great. Dominic, hands down, best natural heel of this generation. But I got to say, out of all the El Grande Americanas we've had, Two things. One thing that annoyed me, one thing that I'm happy about. One thing that annoyed me is that we introduced more El Grande Americanos that even up to last week, and then somehow they don't follow up on any of that tonight. That kind of bugged me. Why set it up if you weren't going to follow up on it? Then we had my positive. At this point, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna lie to you. We all know it's Ludwig Kaiser because they even New Day outed it as sorry, not even New Day. What do you call it? Chad Gable's group literally said that was Ludwig Kaiser. But I gotta say, I think Ludwig is the best El Grande Americano. I'm actually not gonna lie here. I enjoy him as El Grande Americano better than I even enjoyed Chad as El Grande Americano. And as far as it's concerned, I just think I think Ludwig's more fun. I will say I'm still angry at the same time that this is what they did with Ludwig. He had so much heat, so much momentum going up in the Intercontinental Championship division against Braun Breaker, against freaking Sheamus, and to just drop the ball like that after a great run in Imperium really makes me aggravated that I'm like, this is what you guys did with him. But then on the plus side, I'm happy for him because I'm like, man, he's the kind of wrestler that takes whatever they give him and he's going to do the best he can with it. And this is a prime example of that because he's knocking it out of the park. And I'm a massive Ludwig Kaiser supporter. So this is really working for me.
One of the things that I loved, it actually happened before the match. There was a segment inside of the clubhouse where Dom walks in. All of a sudden, the rest of them noticed El Grande Americano walk in, and they're all like, "What the hell, Dom? Why are you bringing this man in here? Like, why?" It's like, "Whoa, wait. We're just over here thinking it over when it comes to strategy with this." I half expected during the match for Valkingo to show up, since 3 out of 4 of them were there in the match itself. So I kind of expected either during it or at the end of it, at least, like after the bell, maybe, Valkingo to show up, maybe to show off the title a little bit, tease the 3 of them a little bit, since that match is this weekend. This entire match, though, I loved. It was great. I love the fact as well that for once, El Grande Americano was not the one to put the damn plate inside of the mask. Instead, Dom pulled out the mask from his entrance at not Survivor Series, at SummerSlam, put that sucker back on, and put the plate in there. So for once, El Grande Americano doesn't do the same shit. But this entire thing, I absolutely loved, like top to bottom.
Yeah, also the next match too was really great. To me was the match of the night, and this was a match that I never thought that I wanted or that I needed. Sami Zayn versus Rusev, right? Now, if someone is going to make Rusev look really good, it's Sami Zayn. And that's something that Rusev really needs right now. He really needs to be able to show more that he's a badass, his fierce side, and Sami Zayn being the ultimate underdog who fights from underneath, who gets the crowd behind him. He made Rusev look really good. This match was so fun for me to watch, and unfortunately, I didn't like how this match ended because before this match, we saw a video package of Sammy also, pleading his case to Adam Pearce, like, hey, I want a title shot. Sami Zayn wants a shot at the world title too. So Adam Pearce was like, okay, let's get done with this match versus Rusev, and then we'll talk after the match with Rusev. The match was fucking great, man. But then it ended in a disqualification because Another person decided to, hey, fuck the brand split. Solo Sikoa and the MFTs from SmackDown showed up on Monday Night Raw to attack Sami Zayn. Apparently, Solo Sikoa is still feeling some type of way after his loss on Friday Night SmackDown. So that story or that feud is going to continue, which they're not even on the same brand. So how are they going to have a feud or a program when they're two different brands, two superstars on different brands? So you know, I was really happy with the match. I wanted to see who was going to win here. I mean, it's Sami Zayn. I was kind of expecting Sami Zayn to win it, and if he did, it would have been a hell of a win for Sami Zayn, but I was just not the only time where I can honestly say I was not happy to see Solo Sikoa tonight. But what did you guys think?
I'm in agreement with why Sammy makes such a great challenger for Rusev, and I'm going to put it this way. Since Rusev's come back, the only people that man has been in the ring with were Alpha Academy, Akira Tozawa, Otis, Sheamus, I think one other person I'm forgetting, and then fucking Sammy. He has not versed a lot of people, in multitudes of variety. He really hasn't. So for me, I think Sammy's a perfect example because Sammy is in between the Alpha Academy and Sheamus. Whereas when Sheamus and Rusev go at it, they can just beat the fucking piss out of each other because they're two very large, grown, muscly dudes. And they can handle and absorb all that abuse for 25 minutes and dish it back out to each other. With Alpha Academy and that of Otis, who is of that body size where he can dish it out and take it, you have still the fact that he's kind of a jobber. And then you have Akira Tozawa, who is extremely small and a high flyer. So you have those guys who are squash material for Rusev. Then you have someone like Sheamus, who is on par with Rusev, if not better. And then you have Sammy, who's that nice, sweet middle, who is strong, as they put over on commentary. He might be the most deceivingly strong superstar in all of WWE. You have that in Sammy, but you also have the fact that Sammy is also very quick, very agile, kind of a high flyer himself in certain aspects of his moveset. So this was a perfect foil for Rusev because Rusev has to deal with the speed, plus the experience, plus the strength, and the fact that Sammy, much like Sheamus, is not the guy to quit. So it was great in that fact. The match was awesome for what we got. And yeah, I'm really fucking annoyed about a DQ. The MFTs don't belong here. Solo doesn't belong here. And what really bugs me is by the time we find out what happened in the main event about, and I won't say it yet, but the match that Adam Pearce set up for Clash in Paris at the very end of the show, it was basically a giant fuck you to Sammy when he told Sammy, let's handle this match with the Rusev tonight, and then you and I will have a conversation about it afterwards. Well, I guess that conversation didn't happen because at the end of the show, this man made a fatal four-way for Clash in Paris for the heavyweight championship. Sammy wasn't even in the conversation. So I'm imagining that next week on Raw, we're going to get Sammy going to Adam Pearce like, what the hell? Add me to this match. Make it a fatal five-way. And it's probably going to be sorry, the match has already been made, yada, yada, no. But I'm like, why is Sammy still involved with Solo? I've seen this man involved with Solo on 2 occasions now, in the Bloodline and then with Roman and the Usos against his version of the Bloodline 2.0. Okay. Now he's involved with him again. Like, please think of new opponents for Solo. It's like Groundhog Day. This could have been really cool for Sammy and Rusev. Solo, keep your ass on the blue brand, bro. I am sick and tired of seeing you involved with Bloodline or Bloodline adjacent stories, even though you are in the Kmart Bloodline story yourself.
All right. For one, I never thought I would see the day where I hear out of Snug's mouth, I didn't want Solo here. I never thought I would see the day where I would ever hear that out of this man with how much he's all over Solo. But Yeah, I have to agree here that the DQ was just bullshit. It was the wrong choice here. There absolutely should have been a definitive winner. Unfortunately, there is not. Good old after the match, Sheamus deciding, hey, I'm going to attack Rusev now. The match is over. At this point, Adam Pearce, you have 2 weeks. Announce the damn match between the two at Clash in Paris. At this point, last week, the entirety of Raw surround that fight backstage after the first match of the night, that being those two. We just need to get over it at this point and just go, hey, know what? You two have been fighting over and over and over again for the past 2 weeks. Y'all want to go head to head. Y'all want to play games. All right, here we go. Y'all are going to Paris. It's like, at this point, Adam Pearce, please just put these two in a one-on-one match at Clash in Paris. Just do it already.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why they decided to go with this DQ finish, because they're still gonna, plan that big blow off match between Sheamus and Rusev. So I guess they don't want to beat Rusev before going into that match, because and after seeing what happened with Rusev versus Sammy, and then Sheamus came out, attacked Rusev. I'm more interested in that match now too, because everything that happened here. So we have that to look forward to. The next match for me, this is when the show started going downhill for me, because originally we were supposed to have Naomi versus Io Sky, I believe, for the women's world title, if I'm not mistaken. But earlier, before the show was announced that Naomi wasn't cleared to compete tonight, so instead they threw in this random match backstage together. Io Sky versus Roxanne Perez. This match was like so cold. I mean, there was nothing, no feud. There's nothing here that I can think of or remember. It was just kind of like, hey, I'm here, you're here. Let me just fight you, and then that's it. So I was just like, whatever. It's kind of just felt like a filler match, but they went like fucking 15 minutes or something crazy like that. This was a match. This was a long match for a match that had no build, that was just thrown together last minute. And they went all out for this match, and they did a weird angle at the end where the Kabuki Warriors try to come out to help Io Sky, but it ended up backfiring. Now they have tension, and Io Sky got pinned. Surprise roll up again, Mr. Blood. Roxanne Perez pinned Io Sky. Io Sky, I can't remember the last time Io Sky has been pinned at all. I mean, Rhea Ripley hasn't even been able to pin Io Sky, but fucking Roxanne Perez pinned her tonight on Monday Night Raw on a cold match, random TV match that pretty much meant nothing. Roxanne Perez got the win over Io Sky. What the fuck is this? What'd you guys think?
Yeah, it was thrown together. I don't know what's going on with Naomi. We didn't get explained as to why she wasn't medically cleared. That could just be an in-house excuse. Maybe there was a personal family issue that happened, or a travel issue or something. I was really looking forward to that. I've been a big fan of this Naomi stuff a lot lately. So I was really hyped for it, because Naomi is a great wrestler, and Io is a fucking legendary wrestler at this point. So I was hype as hell for that, because those guys have chemistry. Those two girls have chemistry. Sorry. But however, Tommy knows, the Snug universe knows, I have always remained very unimpressed with Roxanne. And tonight was no different. I thought that the match was great in and of what it was because of Io. But I don't like that they had Io sell for Roxanne for 80% of the match. I did not like that Roxanne remained in control of Io. Why is Roxanne able to remain in control of Io when when Io wrestles Rhea, it's 50-50. They're equals. Why is it that when there's a WrestleMania match and it's Io and it's freaking Rhea and it's goddamn Naomi, they're all deadlock even with each other, but somehow in a one-on-one match, Roxanne just has full control over Io? And I'm just like, that makes no goddamn sense. You've been here for a cup of coffee. Why are they booking you to take control over a woman that two other women have had a hell of a time trying to beat? And then what pissed me off more was the fact that they had Roxanne win. Now, the roll-up does protect Io because Roxanne hooked the tights hard. She went deep and high arch that shit. So, and that whole mess up is because, in fact, it also protects Io because it was an interference that she didn't ask for in favor of her, backfiring on her. So if you're gonna pin Io, this is the way to do it. However, when the championship was supposed to be on the line, I wonder how that would have ended. I don't know what their original plans would have been for the finish of Io versus Naomi. I've got to imagine Naomi retains through some sort of interference on behalf of somebody. But the problem is, Io don't got beef with nobody before this match. So I'm struggling to figure out who it is that would have caused that to happen.
I think they still do the same angle, even if it was Naomi. Naomi retains, and it was because of the Kabuki Warriors.
Fair enough. And so it kind of pisses me off. I do want to point out before I pass it over to our boy Tommy, one thing I noticed in this match that I did really like that pertained to Roxanne. Her gear. I pointed this out to my wife. Roxanne is not trying to get in the Judgment Day just so she can get and go with the Judgment Day. Oh no. Roxanne is trying to replace Liv. Her gear was extremely reminiscent of how Liv dresses, from the kick pads all the way up to the kneecaps. She didn't come out with her patented jacket she normally wears. No, she came out in tights that were very close to Liv's and the shirts that's cut up and tied off in designs like Liv Morgan wears. She's literally trying to become Liv in the Judgment Day, right down to the gear. The moment she didn't come out in her jacket, I was like, what the fuck? And then when I looked at the rest of her, I was like, why are you literally dressed like Liv Morgan right now? So that mind game is starting to click. It makes me wonder if Liv might be coming back a little sooner than we're all thinking.
The whole thing with Naomi is this. She posted a video not too long ago on that stupid suitcase scooter of her riding it and then her saying the whole all gas, no brakes with it, the whole thing that Jacob used to say for a bit. And then the front tire got caught on one of the cord covers that people would use and all of that. Yeah, the front tire got caught on that and she went flying off of it. So I think that might be what caused this injury.
Hold on, Tommy. I'm going
Was
to
it-
call bullshit on that because this is a professional wrestler who's trained to take bumps and falls way harder than that. I don't think she would have gotten injured over something like that, but that's just me.
You would be surprised on what happens with that type of shit. But this whole thing with this match, it was really, really just randomly put together, like out of nowhere. It's just like, okay, Naomi's out. Hey, Roxanne, go. Like, that's pretty much what this match was. The problem is that Io was also training specifically for Naomi and not anyone else for this week. So that might have screwed her up a little bit as well. But this whole thing, it just feels off. I really, really don't like it.
Here are two things real quick. One, I don't buy the whole live or not live, but her training for Naomi and not prepared for Roxanne. She's wrestled Roxanne before, and Roxanne wrestles a style extremely similar to Liv's. So I have a hard time believing she wouldn't be prepared for Roxanne when she has more than a few times handled Liv in that ring. And two, to what Snug said about, she's a wrestler trained to take falls worse than that. I don't buy the scooter thing. Let's not forget that Sami Zayn during an entrance ripped his shoulder out of the socket and had to get surgery and go out on injury just because he got so excited his entrance when he flung his arm up to the crowd. He ripped his shoulder straight out of the socket, just waving to the crowd. So it's very possible. Remember, wrestlers don't wrestle injured. They wrestle hurt all the time. That is the existence of wrestling. You are always in pain, which means you are always one trip away from a massive injury.
Yeah, but what a stupid way to fucking, like, as a professional wrestler in that high level, you should be taking care of yourself. And hey, maybe I'm not going to be riding around in a scooter or whatever the fuck it is before my match around all these fucking things. It just seems so immature.
It's not that it's immature. It's that you're just trying to have fun, entertain yourself while you're waiting on the show to get set up. That's all you can do is sit there and wait for 5 hours till you go live. So, and because they expect you to be at the building by 1 o'clock. So, it's one of those things where it's like, it's a Looney Tunes ass accident, but it was an accident.
It's super
it was an accident. You know what I mean? Like, we see these guys on their socials go out and do crazy stuff in cities all the time. CM Punk gets injured left and right, and we can't hate on him for it. So I can't hate on her for, hey, you ran into something backstage, you hurt yourself. We've seen that happen before. Don't forget, Liv Morgan injured Rhea on accident just because she slammed herself into a wall too hard.
Yeah, but for me, if I was like a promoter or booker or whatever, and my world champion can't make the show or can't wrestle on the card that she's scheduled to be on and she was promoted for because she was being silly on a scooter before the show and she fucking fell and hurt herself for being silly, I would be pissed off.
I'm pretty sure that they were annoyed because it was a promoted match, but I guarantee it resulted in, first things first, let's see how hurt you are. Are you okay? And then second, hey, please don't do this type of stuff again. We can't risk, this kind of injury. You're the champion. It does derail the show. And I'm sure she got talked to afterwards. But Naomi's never a reckless person by any stretch of the means. So I imagine it was a very calm, collected conversation with more of the concern going to her overall well-being, because that is their first priority, as it should be. But let's hope, because we all love, fucking physical-ass barbaric soap opera and professional wrestling. But we all know that these guys put their bodies on the line for entertainment. So let's just hope that she is not seriously injured and that the woman who plays Naomi is okay by next week.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you guys, the next match. Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree. All right. Now, first of all, look, I'm glad that they're using Maxine Dupree. She's getting some TV time. And, now they can't say, oh, well, Triple H has all these people on the roster. He doesn't use them. They don't know what to do with them. They're just in catering. No, Maxine Dupree got a TV match tonight. It was for the Intercontinental Championship. Why? I don't know. But this was Becky Lynch, who, out of the kindness of her heart, gave Maxine Dupree a title shot because, I don't know, Becky Lynch was just trying to prove a point. Like, hey, I'm the shit. She ain't shit. This is going to be easy peasy for me. And it pretty much was. I mean, Becky Lynch sold a little bit for Maxine Dupree as much as she could. I think Becky Lynch sold a little bit too much, but the story that they were telling in this ring is like, hey, Maxine Dupree is not ready for this. She, she's way in over her head wrestling for an Intercontinental Championship versus Becky fucking Lynch. And she's new. She doesn't know what she's doing. And that's the reality of this. So to me, it looked like they put Maxine Dupree in this situation And it was the reality of things is just that she's just not ready for this type of matches. So it kind of like, to me, it kind of seemed like this is a bad look. Like they're pretty much telling the people what we already know. Instead of trying to make her look good, they kind of made her look like what we all know what she is. What she's not the greatest, right? But what did you guys think about this?
I disagree, because in the sense that Becky chose Maxine for the sheer fact of she's like, well, I'll have a match next week, but against her, to show that Becky's a coward and that she knows that if she went one-on-one with Natalya, Natalya stands a very good chance of beating her, because Natalya doesn't joke around. Natalya's been a women's champion. Natalya is the boat, as they like to say. And as far as it's concerned, when it comes down to it, Becky picked Maxine for the pure form of, I'm going to pick you apart because it'll be easy. One thing I noticed about this match that pissed me off, if you're going to put Maxine in this position, at least make it special for her. Why on earth was there no weigh-in before this match? But there was for every other Intercontinental Championship match they've had. I thought it was aggravating. You didn't give them a weigh-in. That tells me right off the bat, you don't think the match is important. If you don't think the match is important, why are you booking it? Second off, Maxine, I looked it up, and Maxine has been wrestling with WWE. She's been in WWE for longer, but since they put her on the main roster, that girl has only wrestled a total of 34 times, including dark matches. Ever for the company, she has wrestled 34 matches. My argument was this, because we had a debate in the comment or in our chat with Snug, and I said it's 70% the company's fault and 30% hers. It's 70% their fault because you pay her, you book her, it's your job to present her, it's your job to put a spotlight on the woman that you hired to do a job. And the fact is, it's 30% on her to do the best she can do with the stuff you give her. When you give her shit, because the last match I remember Maxine being in was checks notes, a tag match with Natalya, and before that, the Women's Royal Rumble this year. So how is this girl supposed to get better if she can't get her ring reps in, considering the fact that WWE basically killed their entire live events division? So it's not like she's getting to wrestle on those off TV to get fucking a practice in. She's only getting to wrestle at the PC and the Heart Dungeon. That's about it. That's not enough for her to get better. And I think for someone who has had a very limited amount of time with WWE to wrestle, because she was a valet and a manager the majority of the time, I think she still looks better than some other people I've seen in that ring. I think she shows a lot of potential, And what she has going for her is that the crowd loves her. That's a big thing for her, because the crowd loves Alpha Academy in and of itself. And I'm waiting for Otis to come back. But when it comes down to this, I am very glad they at least gave Maxine. She can at least say she has had a championships contenders match in her career. I am mad that they did not give her the courtesy of making it more important for her, because I think that weigh-in signifies the importance of something. It really does. It's telling you, hey, this is important. The lights are dimmed. They're being called by their weight, their hometowns. There is a pomp and circumstance to this. When you take that away from the match, you're telling me it's not important. And I noticed twice when we had images in Gorilla tonight, Triple H wasn't even at the show. So as far as it's concerned, I know this is going to continue somehow. This is going to be a filler thing for Becky for sure, leading and mixing in with Nikki Bella, especially after Becky soccer ball kicked Natalia in the head. We'll have to see. All I know is I tell you what, I prefer seeing Maxine versus Becky more than the anticipation of seeing Becky versus Nikki.
Hold on real quick there, Tommy. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Blood. But I have a hard time believing that the only way that Maxine Dupree will get better is if she wrestles on the main roster on TV. I personally don't think that's the right time for someone to be getting their reps in. The valuable the time on TV is very valuable, right? And I don't think it should be used for someone who's as green as Maxine as a way for her to train herself and get better. I think
But
that
again,
spot should be
that's on the company because they
right.
had given her no other place to get better. Every wrestler will tell you this.
That's not
Every
true
wrestler.
though, blood. That's not true. I mean, they have the PC center. They have all these rings everywhere where they can go
Yes,
in
but
and they
that's
can train with
training.
different people.
Yes, but every wrestler will tell you this. The best way to get better is to actually wrestle a match. Training is great. I could be a black belt all day, which I am. But until I spar someone in an actual competition, my training doesn't mean shit if I don't get to continuously use it against someone else in an actual situation. I get stagnant. I get stale. I don't get better. I have a knowledge of something and a skill set, but if I don't use it, I get rusty.
I just think it's crazy that like there's so many people on NXT that are more than ready for the main roster to be on TV. And instead of having Maxine Dupree down there where she can, get that time that you say is very important on screen, on TV, to wrestle in front of people for her to get better, they're doing it in the main roster on a Monday Night Raw. And it's just
Yes.
like,
And
this,
again, I blame them for that because they're the ones that brought her up as a manager and then turned her into a wrestler after she hit the main roster. She never wrestled in NXT.
yeah. I
So
also,
they should put her back down there. I agree. She should go back to NXT because I think she needs it. I think she deserves a chance to prove that she can hang. But she's got to go down there and get that chance to prove. She needs the opportunity to prove that I can go there, I can get better, because it's not just learning how to wrestle. You're on a TV program. She has to learn and train how to interact with an audience, understand timing, understand reactions, working the camera, all of that. She needs the full circle. That's why working the PC isn't enough. She needs
I,
to understand how TV works.
I understand that like in real sports, sometimes the coach gives like the young prodigy, the young 16-year-old to play on the main team and to go in as a starter sometimes or the sub to kind of like, hey, look, we got big hopes for you. We're trusting you. We're giving you these opportunities. But they only do that when they see something in this prodigy, when they see, okay, this kid has potential, he has talent. And I'm just like, what? I don't know what they see in
Well,
Maxine.
keep in mind, people forget she was tagging with Natalia for the women's tag titles earlier this year. And they
Yeah,
dropped that cold out of nowhere. Every woman involved in that feud just stopped. So it's
yeah.
also in WWE for just not following up on their own shit that they wrote,
Yeah.
But I digress. Tommy.
This is what I will say to all of that. Not only every wrestler you will ever meet, but also every theater person you will ever meet will full blown tell you that when it comes to learning things and being better, it is much better to do so in front of an audience than it is in the rehearsal process. That's just how it is. The match itself, I'm like, it, yeah. I do agree that Maxine should go down to NXT and do all of that, especially if they're willing to send Chelsea Green down there for a segment with Ethan Page and then Nia Jax down there for a match. What in the world is up with that? But I will say that I completely agree with everything Blood has said. When it comes to Maxine, she is not being used like at all. I would say that 34 matches, including dark matches, 10%, if that, is from this year. And you said in our Instagram group, Snug, You gave a shit for saying that Jade and all of that, like, we're giving her shit for not going to NXT, all of that, saying that she's not ready. The problem with that and the difference with that is the fact that Jade Cargill has wrestled like twice as much within 1 year than Maxine has in 2.
Yeah, and just to give some quick context on that, what Tommy's talking about is that I had said that, you know, we have been shitting on the matches that Jade Cargill has been having, but for some reason we're giving Maxine Dupree a pass, and I'm just thinking why? Like this I just I don't get it, but that's what Tommy's referring to.
So yeah, the whole thing with Maxine, I look at it, I'm like, she needs more TV time. She needs to be used more. And that's the problem with Triple H, is the fact that he has all of these people, and you say that he's trying to use her and go, hey, look, we're not just doing this because she's in catering. Yes, the hell you are. All because of the fact that we are all giving you shit for not using the talent you have and instead just randomly hiring more.
Yeah, and to the Jade credit part, we all give Jade shit for being green, and which is fair. I know she's a lovely person. She's also incredibly charismatic. But the problem is that in that ring, she has wrestled for almost 5 years between AEW and WWE. She hasn't had just twice Maxine's experience. She's had 5 times the experience across 2 promotions and was a champion in both. And she still can't get through a regular one-on-one match without someone leading her through it. They paired her with Bianca. Some reason they made her a tag champion when she was still too green to do a match on her own. They paired her still green with Bianca Belair, and Bianca still worked and ran 70 to 80% of all those matches and did all the selling just so Jade could get the high spots and the power spots. And to this point, the match she just had with Tiffany, there is a reason they only let that go 7 minutes, because they knew that's as long as she could go without getting exposed in a longer title match on a big PLE. She has had 5 years to get this shit through her head. Don't forget, when they brought her into WWE, they showed her to us at Royal Rumble, and they kept her off of TV for 5 months because they said she had to get retrained because everything she learned in AEW was wrong. So
Yeah.
and now she's been retrained and she's still green as turtle shit. So
yeah, but she's still levels ahead of
she is
Maxine
level.
Dupree.
She is 100%. You are right. She is levels ahead, because as green as Jade is, she's still green with 5 years more experience.
Well, maybe like 2 or 3, but yeah.
Roughly 3.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the main event. LA Knight teamed up with CM Punk versus the Oracle or the Vision or whatever you want to call them, the Bronze. And it was one hell of a tag team match, man. We had, 2 major stars, 2 veterans like LA Knight and CM Punk versus the young hot tag team of Bronson and Braun. And again, this also ended in a disqualification after Seth Rollins attacked CM Punk. All hell broke loose, and Adam Pearce came out and was like, hey, enough is enough, Seth Rollins. You just earned yourself the right to defend your World Heavyweight Championship versus Jey Uso. And I'm like, okay. And CM Punk. And I'm like, oh, great. Another triple threat match. Oh, and LA Knight. And I'm like, even worse. A fatal 4-way. Because we haven't seen any of those, in a long time. Man, like, this could have gone so many different ways, man. Like, we could have had Seth Rollins defend versus one guy first. And I get, like, everyone wants to be champion. Everyone wants, and that's how it should be. But that doesn't mean you have to throw them all together in one big match. Like, But this is gonna go down at Clash in Paris. And I gotta be honest, I'm not too thrilled about this, you guys. But what did you guys think about this?
First things first, match was cool as hell. It was fire. I loved it. I'm so tired of DQ finishes on matches that get so good and I get so invested in. And by the way, you were wondering, the entire group is literally called The Vision. But as far as it's concerned, match was awesome. Crowd was hot.
But who's the Oracle then?
That's Paul Heyman's nickname. He's the Oracle.
Oh, got it. Okay.
But like, crowd was fucking hot. Crowd was hot. Crowd was actually hot for most of the night tonight. It was a good ass Quebec crowd tonight. That being said, main event, they were fucking on fire. I mean, I never thought I'd see a crowd go ape shit for CM Punk taking his shirt off. So it's like, there was a lot of great stuff in here. These guys all have great chemistry. What I'm excited to see, I also really quick, I think one of my favorite things that was said tonight was in the opener when Braun Breaker was having a beef with Punk. I forgot to mention this, and he's like, you're 47. What are you gonna do? And you're 40. I'll kick your ass too. but in the main event, Braun was doing great, but he was getting that work. And crowd came alive for LA Knight. Holy shit. Just for the simple knockdown of Bronson Reed's spot, 2 clotheslines and a jumping, leaping clothesline. And the way that Bronson Reed bumped for that, the crowd went fucking nuts, bro. I love crowds like this. I love when they go to Canada because they are always a great wrestling fucking country. But as far as the finish, expected, I didn't buy for a second Seth was going to let that shit go and just leave. Fuck no. You flew this guy all the way out to Canada so he could appear for 5 minutes and leave just because his wife was in this. Come on, nah. He would have stayed at home with their daughter. But as far as it's concerned, I'm extremely hyped for this Fatal 4-Way because it is the first time it's so long where it's the World Heavyweight Championship fucking title scene, and Gunther isn't involved. And I love Gunther. I fucking admire the fuck out of Gunther. But good God, was this fresh. Fresh. So fresh. I mean, yes, I love it because they're telling you, hey, the World Heavyweight Championship scene matters. We've got your main event Jey Uso that everybody loves. We got LA Knight finally getting another fucking shot like he deserves. We've been clamoring for LA Knight to get a fucking push here in the world title scene for over a year and a half now. We have got fucking CM Punk getting his pound of flesh because I don't care who's tired of Punk versus Seth. Fight forever. For me, fight forever. I love these two hating each other. And you got Seth. I know he's going to walk out this bitch with the championship in Clash in Paris. I doubt they put it on him just to take it off of him at Clash in Paris, but it's the mystery of how he's going to retain because Fatal 4-Ways are also what, gentlemen? No DQ, which means Braun and Braun are going to get involved, but that also means your TC1, your OTC, the tribal chief is probably also going to fly out there to punch someone in the face and spear a person through a barricade. And that being said, I am super hyped because all of these guys have chemistry together. All of them. We've all seen them together in some kind of match at the exact same time together where they were on each other's sides or opposing. So for me, this match in Paris, the Paris crowd is going to be fucking apeshit for this. And I am so hyped for the energy that we are going to get from this match at Clash in Paris.
I will say this. I believe that entrance-wise, LA Knight did get a bigger pop than CM Punk. Holy shit. Like, Canada in general, fucking amazing crowds every time. The match itself, it was great. I hate the fact that it ended in DQ. Seth, you couldn't have waited until after they beat the crap out of each other? Really? Couldn't have waited like 3 more minutes? Now, The announcement. Oh, God. Once again, Blood said it earlier. Pierce, you told Sami Zayn that if he dealt with Rusev tonight, that he would get a title shot or at least talk about it. Why wasn't even he in the consideration for this? Odds are this is going to end up being a Rhea Ripley situation with WrestleMania all over again. So be prepared for a possible, instead of fatal 4-way, fatal 5-way with Sami getting his way on that.
I'd like to say here, I think this is how we start getting Sami's heel turn. Every time he tries to get in the world title picture, he gets snubbed. And now all the guys he's been fighting alongside with and helping all get a title shot, and he's left out again.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that can also lead to maybe Sami Zayn doesn't get in the titles picture, this time around Clash in Paris, but isn't the Royal Rumble going to be in Saudi Arabia?
A lot of people think he's winning it. Yeah. A lot of
He
people.
has to be one of the favorites, right?
And even if I think he's the odds-on favorite, because the two people I keep hearing everybody say is Sami Zayn and LA Knight for Royal Rumble 2026. But I also think that if Sami gets involved in War Games, if they can rip him out of the fucking mid-card vortex that is Solo Sikoa, I think he turns on them. And I've said this before. I think he turns heel in War Games in the cage. Maybe Seth promises him, if you help us win, I'll give you a world championship match or something like that. But I think that it makes sense to keep him babyface long enough. If he's winning the Rumble in Syria, it makes sense for him to go in as a face. But I think the crowd would cheer him like crazy, even if he was a heel, because they're in fucking Syria, for Christ's sakes. I think they'll get a pop out of him either way. But I think this is going to lead into the credence. It's going to push Sami closer to that edge. But Tommy, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing up War Games as well, because I've noticed a slight little problem between this week and last week. Last week, Jade didn't show up when that whole thing happened. This week, Roman doesn't show up with all of this happening. Where are you at, Roman?
So
We're hearing the sirens. We're
they
getting.
They
Where
have
are you at, bro?
They have keep in mind, Roman is coming next week. So last week they advertised that Roman will be on Raw August 18th. That's why he's not here tonight. That's why Jay made the save tonight. So even when the crowd was chanting OTC, I already knew it was Jay, not Roman, because Roman was advertised for next week. So because Snug and I covered this on Thursday. But it's a matter of Roman is best used, oddly enough, sparingly, because he is an attraction. So if you saw Roman every week, it wouldn't be special. That being said, when it comes to the stories that he's involved in, would it be nice to see him around a little bit more for some of those bigger moments? Yeah. But
yeah, and then also too, it's a 3-on-3 situation. Like if you bring Roman out, then you have a 4-on-3.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the heels have no way of overcoming that. And you want the heels to stand tall to keep feeling more dominant, more unstoppable.
Well, yeah, that was Monday Night Raw. Overall, not a bad show, except for one or two of those matches, I got to be honest. But that's enough for tonight, you guys. Mr. Blood, take us home.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Snug Wrestling. Thanks for kicking it with us. We appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in. Don't forget, we are live every Monday and Friday night after Raw and SmackDown go off the air on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook for live post-show reviews. And as a bonus for reaction content during the weekly WWE broadcasts on all of our socials. Then you can come hang out with us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on TikTok Live, where myself, Mr. Blood, and the leader of Snug Wrestling, that handsome Mexican over there, Edgar, do our weekly one-on-ones where we dive into random wrestling topics and answer your questions. So follow Snug Wrestling on all social media platforms, as well as on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And mark your calendars. Tomorrow, August 12th, we've got Chris Steeler joining us for an exclusive interview in a one-on-one with Edgar, the host of Snug Wrestling. Chris Steeler is amazing. He is a great independent wrestler. He has also worked with AEW and NWA. Then on August 14th, this Thursday, Dwayne Cashman, one of the rising stars in the indie scenes, goes one-on-one with me in an interview on TikTok Live, where he is going to share his story and rise on the independent scene with us. So until next time, stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. And one time, because our boy Toxic isn't here, that was 4 letters, one word.
One word.
Ooh, yeah.